Zeppela's watching Path of Exile? Interesting. Co-Carnage. Yeah, everybody's hyped for it, man. Let's go, baby. Appreciate your boys being here, hanging out. This is it. This is it. Five, 4, 2, 1. Did it like skip out there?
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games.
Here we go.
And welcome to GGG Live.
Hell
Today
yeah.
we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of what's coming next for Path of Exile 2. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Sun Priest's Incineration rare finisher effect by following the instructions below. Now with that out of the way, let's get started. It's time to give you a teaser of what's coming in Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict.
Hell yeah. Here we go.
Karui! I have called you here to save our people. To save our way.
The supporter pack.
Over the ages, we have known pain like no other. But we endured. And we became mighty.
Votes confirmed.
Now, outsiders dishonor our shores. And we have stood by, doing nothing. Hear my voice, ancestors. Show us your strength. Show us the true way.
Oh shit.
I understand.
Oh shit. That map looks sick. Oh, this looks fucking badass.
The true Makura Makoi will rise.
Act 4, hell yeah, confirmed. 3 interlude acts. 35 new areas. 24 bosses. Support gem overhaul. Massive skill. Was that volcanic fissure? Oh shit. 25 new endgame maps. 150 new notables. All new trade system. What we got? Introducing. That makes it 1,000. The rise of the Abyssal. That makes it 1,650 notables on the tree now. Oh shit. Gonads. Yeah, the lineage gems are fucking crazy. Ooh. Okay. Alright. Dude, the volcanic fissure that was in like a spiral? That looked fucking crazy.
Now, as you can see, there's a lot going on, and we have a lot to reveal today. We'll start by going over Act 4, the next chapter in the Path of Exile 2 storyline.
All classes buffed?
There's also 3 new interlude acts to get you to endgame, which means we're removing cruel difficulty too. After that, we'll be going through the massive changes to characters. I'm super excited to show you how I've overhauled the entire support gem system. Added new skills,
classes
and yes,
buffed.
there are buffs. Next, we'll go over the rise of the Abyssal. This season's exclusive
Back
league
to the
mechanic,
drawing board.
and talk about the new rewards, crafting systems, areas, and bosses that it adds. After that, it's on to changes we're making to the endgame. Then it's time to talk about items, crafting, and oh yeah, trade. That's going to be a big one. We'll then go over our new supporter packs and finish up with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile 2's game directors, myself and Mark, your questions from Twitch chat. And after that, at 4 PM Pacific, hatch notes. They're not quite complete, but they should give you some nice details to chew on.
Okay.
We've got a lot to cover today, but first, another announcement. When the third edict launches on the 29th, we'll be having a free weekend for Path of Exile 2.
Okay.
That's right, Path of Exile 2 will be free for the first time without requiring an early access key. The free weekend will end on September the 1st, so you'll have plenty of time to give the game a try. All right, let's get started with Act 4.
I'll get some people in there.
The story continues from the end of Act 3. Doryani has agreed to help you find an ancient weapon that can be used against corruption, the instrument of the
Let's
third
go full
edict.
screen. Okay.
The weapon was broken in ages past, but he believes that the pieces may be found in the Karui archipelago, the home of the Karui tribes.
Oh, so all the pieces are going to be in Act 4?
You will need to journey to Kingsmarch,
Multi-input, please? Same.
hire a ship, and set sail. When you open the map, you can choose to sail anywhere you like. Act 4 is completely non-linear, and you can visit the islands in any order you choose.
Hell yeah.
Will you visit the pristine beaches of Whakapanu Island?
Fuck a pen.
The Karui whisper of a curse that afflicts all who travel there. Perhaps it's related to the weapon you seek.
Look at volcanic fissure.
Or maybe you will visit the volcanic shores of the Isle of Kin. The Kin have been more restless recently,
That's
mining for sulfite and driven
crazy.
by some dark force. Perhaps you will choose to consult with one of the local
Fuck a
Karui
Panam
tribes.
Island.
Their ancient wisdom could hold clues to finding the third edict. No matter where you choose to go, you will fight dangerous beasts, find fabulous treasures, and battle incredible bosses.
A challenger! Come,
Oh shit.
seize your soul!
There are 8 islands to discover, each teeming with its own flora and fauna. Act 4 contains over 100 new monster types, 16 new areas, 12 new bosses, and plenty of other interesting encounters. There's a
Oh,
huge amount to
shit.
show, but we're not going to spoil too
Titty
much
mermaid.
here. We want to give you a chance to discover it all for yourself. What happens after Act 4? Well, until now you had to repeat the entire campaign again before you could face the endgame. But after adding Act 4, the game is far too long to make you do that. We needed something else to do in between the end of Act 4 and the endgame. So what else could we do? Add 3 new mini-acts, of course, and we're calling
It's
them
gonna
the
be 7.
interludes. The interludes are a set of 3 temporary side stories that will be included in the game until Act 5 is released, that will take you to level 65 where the endgame can begin.
Okay.
The first interlude sends you on a journey back to Ogham. Renly has been leading the efforts to rebuild Ogham Village after the defeat of Count Geonor, but there's a new danger afoot. The nearby town of Holton is surrounded by an impenetrable darkness, and each night their corrupted townfolk emerge to raid the local farmlands. You'll discover new areas and new bosses.
So they added new bosses just for
You'll
these
need to find your
interludes
way
that are
through
going
the
to go away?
darkness, uncover the source of corruption,
Soon you will serve our master.
and defeat it.
Yes, I shall dance with their corpse.
And that's just the first interlude. The second interlude will have you return to the Vasteri Desert, where Asala has been given a sacred duty. When the skies align, the gifting of water requires a chosen Sekima to meet with the Selkari, guardians of the sacred water, but they're nowhere to be found. You will need to track down the Selkari, find those responsible for disrupting the gifting, fight even more new bosses,
Oh shit.
discover the secrets of the ancient ritual, discover new locations,
Dude, volcanic fissure. I'm going to have to do another build.
and ultimately help
It
Asala
looks too
carry out
good
his
now.
sacred duty. Now for Interlude 3.
Imagine that with the shockwave totems.
As Royal Thaumaturge of the Val, Doryani had plans within plans to save his people from the cataclysm perpetuated by Atzeri's lust for power. One such plan involved sealing a group of willing Val deep in a great mountain vault near the home of the Asmeri, deep enough to survive the cataclysm.
Okay.
Even though thousands of years have passed, he believes that their descendants may still live, and may be key to defeating the beast. The journey up the mountain will be dangerous. New foes stand in your way. And the further up the mountain you venture, the colder it will become. Explore caves of ice,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
enter the vault itself. Who can say what you will find within? The interludes are 6 to 7 areas each and generally include 4 boss fights as well.
Damn.
When you put that together with Act 4, that adds up to 35 new areas in the campaign and 24 new bosses.
Jesus Christ,
It's
that's
worth
a lot
making
of
clear that the
content.
interludes are temporary. When Act 5 and 6 are added, the interludes will be going away. These are side stories after all, but don't worry, the bosses and areas that make up the interlude are all part of the endgame. We're not just going to throw them away.
Yeah, that wouldn't make
And
sense.
with that, we don't need cruel difficulty anymore.
Thank God.
We do know that it was a pretty big chore to have to play through the campaign multiple times in each
That's
character.
a lot of
And this was a
content.
huge reason that the campaign could feel like a
Ooh.
bit of a slog when playing through again. But we do also have another new feature to address that particular concern as well. So let's talk about sprinting.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about
In
this.
030, when you hold down the dodge roll button, your character will go into a sprint after they finish the roll.
Doesn't seem that fast.
This is available on all character classes, and there's no limitation on how long you can sprint for. The primary purpose of this feature is to make navigating areas faster when out of combat. Because of that, if you do take a hit while sprinting, you'll fall to the ground.
Oh, you're done. Oh, you're
The
done.
best idea is to use a skill when you see monsters. It'll
That's
break you
it.
out of the sprint so you can engage with no danger. If you do need to run away from monsters, just hold spacebar. You won't be vulnerable during the roll, and you're faster while sprinting than basically any monster in the game, allowing you to retreat from combat. Sprint is a pretty significant change to PoE 2's gameplay. What I like most about it is that we can accelerate the pace of the game for those who want that, without having to compromise on PoE 2's more visceral combat systems. Okay, so that's the new extensions to the campaign,
We'll
but there's
see.
a whole giant league to play through as well. I'll leave that to Mark to talk about later.
Let's go, Mark.
And that's because what I want to talk about now is the new stuff for your characters. And probably one of the biggest new systems here is with the support gems. Now, support gems are one of the most interesting elements to creating a build. They're what enables so many interesting mechanics and different ways to play. But PoE 2's support gem system has just never been quite right. One of the major issues is the limitation of only having one support gem of each type on your character. We didn't want builds to just become using the same 5 most powerful supports in every skill. The problem with this design, though, is that it's actually working
What's up,
against
Dragon?
using multiple skills in your build. If you can only use each support gem on one skill, it means that you're encouraged to go all in on that one ability. And we want to encourage you to combo your abilities, something needed to change. So with that in mind, we've removed the restriction of having one of each support gem per character. You can now use as many copies as you like. This should drastically increase the amount of possible builds and increase the amount of skill diversity.
Yeah. I'm okay with this change.
There are a lot of potential builds that suffered from the previous restriction. For example, a poison build previously couldn't add poison to more than one skill. They couldn't use stacking poison on more than one skill either. This severely limited your ability to combo with anything outside of the
Yeah.
specifically designed poison archetype, but now you can. Many utility skills previously couldn't scale to endgame, because the supports that would make them scale were more useful to use on other skills. You would never speed up killing Palm with martial tempo, when you would much rather use it on your primary skill instead. There are more examples like this all over the place.
Yeah, we're gonna have to completely redo our builds.
In addition to that, though, we thought there wasn't enough feeling of progression in the supports as you went through the game. There were only 3 tiers of supports, and many of the most important ones were given out at Tier 1. Also, there were no strict upgrades, meaning that upgrading supports when you ran out of sockets required quite a lot of thinking. In order to solve these issues, we now also have multiple levels of many supports as you go through the game.
Hell yeah.
For example, double barrel support gives you an extra bolt, but at the cost of 30% less reload speed. At Tier 2, the penalty
the
gets lowered
leaks
to
were
20%.
true.
But then at Tier 3, the support gem gets something new. It now reloads automatically when you heavy stun an enemy. In some cases, the highest tiers might work a little differently, and you'll have to decide if you like the upgrade or not, depending on your build. For
Freeze
example,
poison mark
rapid
is not
casting.
possible. Yeah, this
The first
opens up a
couple of
lot.
levels
It
gives
does open
15
up a
and
lot.
20% increased cast speed. But then at Tier
Crazy.
3, it changes to a new approach. For each different spell you
You can
cast
make
in the
all-
last 8 seconds, you
everything
get
freeze.
10% increased cast speed, which could be a pretty big bonus if you use a lot of different spells.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good for upgrades through the campaign, but we wanted to add a little more spice to the endgame for supports too. And that's where our new system, Lineage supports, comes in.
Yeah.
You can think of these like unique items, but for supports. There are supports that are only available at endgame, but they're much more powerful. Like Ratha's Assault. It's an upgraded version of Double Barrel that reloads your skill as you dodge roll, as well as increasing the number of bolts it can hold. But it does mean that it's the only way you can reload the skill now. Now, unlike regular supports, you can't find these through the uncut support gem. Just like unique items, many of these can be found from specific bosses. And there's a ton in the regular drop pool too.
Yep. We covered all these last night,
Some of them are fairly rare,
as they should be.
others fairly common.
That's gonna be good.
Some of them are build defining,
What's Tahoe's vengeance?
others are just straight up power upgrades.
That's
All in all,
good.
there's around 40 lineage supports being added throughout the endgame. So there's a
Holy
lot
shit.
of power to find out there.
God
Now,
damn.
The new support gems are certainly going to open up a lot of builds, but of course we have a huge range of improvements to individual character classes as well. As well as adding new skills, we had a big focus on buffing existing skills so that they can scale well into the endgame. There's a huge amount to cover here, so we're not going to discuss everything.
Oh,
we're just going
come
to quick
on.
fire through some of the coolest changes. We wanted to make cold a more useful element on the Ranger, so we've expanded the cold tools available. As well as increasing its range, Escape Shot now creates fragments of ice whenever it hits the ground. These fragments explode after a short time, making the skill better for killing groups of enemies. But not only that, we added an ice fragment support that creates more of them when killing frozen enemies,
Oh wow.
and a new buff skill called Ice Tipped Arrows that allows all your arrows to create ice fragments.
Huh.
This already gives clear to rangers wanting to use ice, but to take further advantage of the ice fragments, Freezing Salvo has been upgraded to shoot additional cold arrows towards every fragment, giving you a nuke-like ability.
Okay.
We've also modified Snipe to consume frozen from enemies, dealing a huge amount more damage, giving you a nice ice single target option.
Wow.
And something you might notice about this is that the bonus is a lot higher against bosses. This is actually a change you'll see throughout the entire game. Since it's a lot harder to freeze a boss, you should get a bigger reward for it.
Damn.
Another theme you'll see throughout the game is making movement feel better. Toxic Growth is a skill that was pretty cool, but a bit annoying to use with the jump that it had. Now Toxic Growth is a range skill, so you can spam it more easily.
Oh.
And we've also added a new poison skill while we were at it, called Toxic Domain. It creates a small area around you that makes all your attacks create toxic growth pustules, but attached to monsters.
Okay.
Another skill that was annoying to use was Electrocuting Arrow. It's now just a regular arrow, making it easier to use. But it
Fair.
also means you can support it with projectile supports. And it now also has Area of Effect, making it a tool for more than just single target, and allowing it to scale into the endgame. We also added a new spirit reservation called Mirage Archer. This is a meta skill that allows you to create shadowy clones of yourself to use a skill of your choice.
Oh hell yeah.
Of course, one of the other big problems the Ranger had was survivability. Evasion was the weakest of the three defenses, and we wanted to change that. Currently, evasion doesn't evade all types of hits in the game, so you're still vulnerable to things like slams or unblockable attacks. To make evasion characters more tanky, we're adding a new mechanic called Deflect. Unlike evasion, Deflect works on everything, and if you successfully deflect a hit, you take 40% less damage.
Wow.
Items can now give you a mod that gives you some amount of deflection based on your evasion,
Okay.
and there's a bunch of it available on the passive tree too. Deflection is rolled in addition to evasion, so this is an upgrade for regular hits too.
Ooh.
And unlike evasion, there's no maximum chance. You can reach 100% deflect against all hits if you spec into it enough.
Maybe,
Of
Medu.
course, this is a buff that helps all Dex characters, so the Mercenary and the Monk, but especially the Huntress, are seeing big defense boosts from this as well.
Yeah, it's gonna help us be a mercenary.
Speaking of
Big
defensive
time.
mechanics, let's talk about block and parry. Now, one of the big concerns on the release of the Huntress was parry feeling unreliable. One of the big reasons for this is there's a lot of hits that are not blockable, and thus not parryable either. So a huge balance change we're making is that now everything is blockable, except for specifically unblockable red flash skills that bosses use.
Wow. That's a lot of
This
work.
makes parry much more reliable. And not only that, but to make block and parry nicer to use, you now also move faster than before while using these abilities. This is a massive buff to passive block as well. So to counter that, we did have to lower the max passive block a bit, but overall you should feel much safer. Fire skills on the warrior were not really cutting the mustard, so we decided we needed to upgrade a bunch of them, but also add some more as well. Let's start with a buff. Volcanic Fissure now branches into multiple fissures, giving it much more clearing potential. We've also added a new skill called Forge Hammer. This skill throws a molten hammer that does a slam at a distance. You can recall the hammer back by using the skill again if you like,
Huh.
but the cooler thing to do is to use a Warcry near it. Using a Warcry makes the hammer explode, making a
Jeez.
bunch of volcanic fissures around.
Oh, that's cool
Volcanic
as
fissures
shit.
re-trigger when you slam them, so it's a great skill to make a flaming arena to fight a boss.
Oh my god.
We also buffed Perfect Strike to have much larger area of effect, and changed Molten Blast to not always force you to move forward. Trust me, it feels a lot better to use now. The skill now has massively boosted chance to ignite monsters as well.
Okay.
And you're going to want to ignite monsters due to a new glory skill called Ancestral Cry. Ancestral Cry charges up with glory by igniting monsters, invoking King Kaum's favor. After you do, use it to channel Kaum's ancestral power. Every attack will be ancestrally boosted with fire. Your very steps will explode, triggering volcanic fissures, and molten balls will erupt from your attacks.
Oh my god.
Warrior shield skills were another area we wanted to improve.
I just got a brand new bag.
Sprint.
That's
we actually
crazy.
don't need to have a cooldown on shield charge anymore. And now also does more damage the further away you are when you use it.
Yep. That's the way to go.
Shield wall got
When I play warrior, that's what I'm doing.
significantly upgraded AoE. Also, you can shield charge right through it to trigger all the walls. We also added a new shield war cry. Fortifying Cry gives you a defensive buff, but it also builds up charge on your shield that empowers your other shield skills. And Magma Barrier now doesn't require timing in order to use. Just wait for your shield to charge up and block.
Damn.
Seismic Cry now stuns enemies that are primed for stun.
We're getting some good shit. These reworks are amazing so far.
And we changed the Sunder interaction with Armor Break. It now also gives a Sundered Armor debuff that makes enemies take 40% extra physical damage.
Oh.
Great for bosses. Ancestral Warrior Totem has undergone some pretty significant changes too. We wanted the skill to feel more like using an ultimate. That summoning an ancestor to fight for you was a big deal. So we've changed this totem to require 3 endurance charges to summon, and massively buffed its damage.
Okay.
It also now scales your weapon damage too.
Wow. Okay. Look at all that fire.
Since there's no limit anymore, if you build around generating endurance charges, you can summon an entire forest of totems.
Really?
In order to make that easier, we added some new sources of endurance charges. There's now a support to make Perfect Strike generate charges, and a support for generating
my
endurance
FPS will
charges
be
from
at
heavy
3.
stuns as well.
Wow.
Speaking of totems, we wanted to upgrade the Warbringer. Among the other changes we've made to this class, Answered Call now gives an extra totem, and the spirits have just been generally buffed in many ways. Use it with your limitless ancestral warrior forest to make an army of
Holy
Kurui
God,
that would make
yes.
Tokuhama proud.
This is crazy.
We've also merged the Great Wolf Howl and Warcaller's Bellow support, so that you can get all the benefits with 1 point.
Oh my god.
And Encased in Jade no longer removes the Jade when getting hit, making it a much better defense.
PS5 is gonna, I know, right? Everything
Next
I
up,
have.
let's talk about accuracy.
Holy
Accuracy
shit.
was always intended to be something that warriors didn't need to care about very much so long as they're in close combat. But unfortunately, that's not currently the case. This was particularly annoying with skills like Bone Shatter, which you certainly don't want to mess with. So we significantly buffed your chance to hit at close ranges when you don't have much accuracy. Warriors shouldn't require any accuracy investment in order to hit with close range attacks now.
Okay, that's a good change.
We also wanted to improve
this is
armor.
crazy.
And one of the major weaknesses of armor is the inability to defend against elemental damage.
Right.
In order to mitigate this, we're adding a lot more of the stat that allows your armor to defend against elemental damage.
Okay.
It's now available on items and in a lot more places on the passive tree.
All right. Passive tree looks a lot different.
One of the most important improvements we've made in 030 is to declunk the action and flow of shooting crossbows.
Here we go.
You can now reload crossbows without any movement penalty.
Hell yeah.
But not only that, all skills that can be used while moving now slow you for a shorter amount of time. This change benefits everyone, not just crossbow skills.
Okay.
With both of these changes put together, the run and gun playstyle feels much better. It's hard to explain how important this change is for the feel of the class. The Mercenary is also a good chance to talk about how we're rebalancing to make comboing skills much better.
Hell yeah.
Take Shock, for example. It buffs damage and lasts 4 seconds right now, but that isn't really giving you enough time to take advantage of it. If you're going to add a lightning skill into a build that otherwise wouldn't use one, we need to make mechanics like this much better. So we've increased shock duration on monsters to last 8 seconds.
Fuck yeah.
And skills like Plasma Blast, which are intended to be good at shocking enemies, now increase the damage bonus by a lot more.
Okay.
You'll find changes like this all around the game. Chill now lasts 8 seconds, giving you more of a reason to weave in cold damage.
Damn.
Freezing skills are better at freezing. Burning skills need to cause burns that last longer. But making skills like Permafrost Bolts and Incendiary Shot double down on how they're supposed to be used, it makes using them in your build alongside other skills much more likely.
Yeah, we
We're
like
also
that.
making sure to buff specific combos too. The freeze explosions from frag rounds now chain to nearby enemies. And using high velocity rounds with armor break will
like
now
that.
fragment the opponent's armor. This causes monsters to take a portion of high-velocity rounds damage with every subsequent hit,
Oh,
even tiny
wow.
pellets. So that means following it with a shotgun blast is way more effective.
Holy shit. Ooh.
Now, there's a lot more buffs to crossbow skills, but for now, I'm just going to talk about the new one we added, the mortar cannon.
Yes.
This one lets you socket any grenade skill, and using it will summon a cannon which loads and then fires the grenade you choose.
Oh my god.
Another issue on the Mercenary were banners. They were just not very good, so we're doing a big upgrade to them. They now last longer, don't disappear when moving out of them, and we removed the Valor mechanic. They now just give a much more consistent and stronger buff.
Okay.
And you can use them when you get enough glory. On which, one of the main focuses was
Okay.
making various minion types more
Mortar
useful to use
cannon.
together. Melee minions in particular were just not that great compared to ranged ones. As a starting point, we just straight up removed the requirement for minions to have accuracy.
Okay.
Attack minions now always hit, which makes them way better. Brutes got some good numeric buffs, but we also added a new command skill where they do a war cry that intimidates enemies and detonates any frozen monsters and allies around you in a big cold explosion. We've also changed the Frost Mage's command skill to an ability that adds ice armor to your other minions, adding a layer of defense. And it makes them deal cold damage back to the attacker as well. The ice armor also makes the minion count as frozen, so the Brute's war cry can detonate them too. Unearth was changed to work on corpses of your dead skeletons, allowing you to summon the minions more easily in boss fights. And they also got a new jump ability, allowing them to get into combat faster. Ray's Spectre was also feeling pretty weak for the spirit cost they have. To be honest, we were a little afraid of these when we first balanced them. We've both decreased the spirit cost for a large range of monsters, and we've significantly increased Spectre damage too. They should
Okay,
feel a
that's
lot more
good.
impactful. There's also a lot of new spellcaster weapons with newer cult skills, but I'll just talk about one of them that I thought was particularly cool. The Reaping Staff is actually a wicked scythe that gives you a new ability called Reap. When an enemy is low in life, you can dash forward and rake enemies with the scythe to cull them instantly, healing you. It can also inflict critical weakness on enemies too.
Huh.
Now, there's a lot of balance changes in the Witcher's Ascendancy classes, but I'll just talk about two of them for now. On the Blood Mage, you were previously required to spend your first points on Sanguimancy, which really was supposed to be the downside for being able to access the powerful abilities on the rest of the class. In order to make picking the Blood Mage a better early option, we've made Sanguimancy free, unlocking the power of the rest of the class immediately.
Oh wow.
On the Infernalist, the Demon form wasn't something people were really using because you lost your weapon stats while transformed. Well, you no longer do, so it's a much better option now. On the Monk, the wind skills needed a big upgrade for sure.
They didn't talk about mercenary
Staggering
tendencies.
Palm
It's
can
probably in
now
the patch
stack up its
notes.
duration if you use the skill multiple times in a row, so you can keep the effect of all your skills throwing up wind much more easily. Wind Blast had the purpose of building up to dazing an enemy, but dazing just wasn't worth all that effort. Now it just dazes on hit, meaning a single Wind Blast will make all your skills stun enemies more easily.
Okay.
Following up with Vaulting Impact on a dazed enemy previously did a bunch of stun. Now it allows you to break your enemy's stance. When their stance is broken, following up with a fast attack will do way more damage. A cool build that certain people always enjoyed in PoE 1 was hand-to-hand combat, but until now we just didn't have a real way to make it viable. Well, that changes now.
Oh,
the
shit.
Monk, as a true martial artist, now has the ability to learn the Hollow Palm technique, a keystone that lets you use all quarterstaff skills while unarmed. All
Wow.
quarterstaff attacks now have a special unarmed version, and you get further bonuses to all your attacks from stacking energy
That's
shield and evasion on your character.
crazy. That's really cool.
A new keystone we also added to the Monk section of the tree is Walker of the Wilds. This changes Mana Leech to work with elemental damage instead of physical, which is pretty useful for all those elemental attacks the Monk has, but it works well for the Ranger too. Now, one of the least used Ascendancy classes in the game is the Acolyte of Chayula, so we knew we needed to make some changes here. One of the key things we had to do was make the chaos damage that the Acolyte can do much more useful. So we've added a new skill allowing chaos damage to ignite, shock, chill, and freeze, embracing the elemental prowess of the Monk in a truly
Wow.
chaotic fashion. In addition, he can make all of his chaos damage leech. And we've buffed Into the Breach and Embrace the Darkness by moving the effects of the 4-point nodes into the base skills. He also gains a new notable, Grasp of the Void, which leaves void illusions behind you as you dodge roll. If they're killed, they do massive explosions of darkness, dealing damage to everything in sight. Now let's talk about sorceress skills. One of the things we wanted to improve on the Sorc is the ability to use multiple elements together more effectively. Now, this might seem small, but one of the things pushing you towards using a single element is debuffs like elemental curses, which lower resistances of a single element. In order to fix that, we're making quite a lot of game-wide changes to these kinds of mechanics to broaden what they apply to. So for example, there's no longer 3 curses for fire, ice, and lightning. Instead, there's just a single curse that buffs all 3 at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And things like Frostbomb, which gave you cold exposure, now
That's
give
good.
elemental exposure.
That's
You
gonna
can
be
use
good
it
for
to
all
buff any of
classes.
your other skills. We also wanted to make switching between different weapon sets smoother, so you can use different elemental staves more effectively. To do that, we've removed the weapon switch time, and now happens instantly.
Oh, wow.
This applies game-wide too.
Oh, that's perfect.
Now, we didn't just want to stop there. We wanted to add some specific mechanics that work between different elements, and that's where elemental infusions come in. Certain skills can now drop elemental infusions. For example, when a frostbomb explodes, it leaves behind a cold infusion on the ground. After picking it up, you can spend it on one of any number of different skills to transform how they work. Spark will create a nova of cold-infused projectiles. Ice Nova will leave a chilled area on the ground. And we also added a new low-level skill that fires ice shards. Use it with cold infusion though, and the ice shards will explode.
Wow.
Orb of Storms now generates lightning infusions when you cast enough spells near it. And that's all spells, by the way, not just lightning. Once you have one, you could cast a lightning flame wall, which adds both fire and lightning damage to all the projectiles that pass through it. Or power
I
up
like
Ember
these
Fusillade with
infusions.
lightning, which will generate arcs to nearby enemies as each fireball hits. Or
That
maybe
was
go
cool.
lightning on lightning with arc. This skill is now a projectile, and by infusing it, you can go full Palpatine.
Palpatine.
Get fire infusions by blowing up monsters with living bomb. Then use them with Comet to summon a giant fire meteor from the sky. Or use it with Firestorm, which transforms it from a small area into a much bigger one. Firestorm is unique in that it can be infused by multiple different elements at the same time. Add an ice infusion to rain down ice at the same time as the fire.
This is crazy.
And add lightning to add deadly strikes from the heavens into the mix. Or use it with all 3 to generate a storm that is truly apocalyptic.
That's crazy.
Cold Snap has been simply turned into Snap. Previously, you could use it to shatter ice, but now it works to detonate all of the different elemental ailments and makes them leave behind infusions. And just like how you could previously use it on Frostbolt, you can now also use it on Orb of Storms and Solar Orb to detonate those as well, which means you can create many infusions at once. We also have a Spirit Reservation skill and a support gem to help generate them too. On the passive tree, we've added quite a few new keystones
There's
to
a
the Sorceress
lot
section.
going on here.
Here are a couple of examples.
Yeah, this is
The Black
crazy.
Flame Covenant keystone converts your fire spells to chaos and causes your ignites to deal chaos damage. Your fire spells and ignites will also turn purple.
What?
The Ritual Cadence keystone causes your invocation skills to trigger more times, but makes them trigger periodically over a longer duration instead of one. Great for those auto bomber builds.
Okay.
Now, in addition to skill changes, we've added a lot more options for the passive tree for each class.
Holy shit.
Overall, there are more than 100 new notables on the tree, usually around 20 per class, along with smaller clusters as well. Check out the old version, and here's the new version. It's a lot more dense, and there's more interesting nodes than before. Now, we probably can't go through too many of these in the live stream, so I'll just show you one from each class's area of the tree. We tried to be a lot more thematic with the new nodes.
Oh my
So for example,
God.
the Molten One's Gift.
This
It
is
lets the
damn near a
benefit
new
of armor
game,
break
you're
apply
right.
to your fire damage.
Holy shit.
Or how about Last Stand, which gives you lots of stats as your situation becomes more and more desperate.
This is
A
crazy,
lot of these
boys.
have themes aligning with Ascendancy classes. Like for the Gemling Legionnaire, for example. You have crystallized immunities, which makes you immune to different status ailments, depending on which support gem color you have socketed the most.
Oh.
Another Ascendancy class
That's all
align
you're gonna show
notable is
us?
Sanguimatic Rituals. It allows arcane surges to generate life instead of mana, unlocking that support gem to be used with the Blood Mage Ascendancy.
Okay.
In the Sork area, you'll find these Archon nodes that allow you to convert all of your elemental damage to a specific element. You become a Lightning Archon when you spend enough mana, after which all your skills will be converted to lightning, and you will do extra lightning damage as well. We have ones for cold and fire too, with different triggers. Here's another cool one. Elemental Practitioner gives crit bonuses if you've triggered a skill recently, while also making crits generate more energy for triggers.
My God.
Or maybe you'd like the Great Boar. It gives you a reason to stack dexterity to make you tougher, giving a bonus to life and stun threshold.
Oh, I'm using that for the Merc.
Or the Cunning Fox. It straight up gives you 5% quality to all your gems.
What?
Now, another major change is attribute requirements. We felt like players probably had a few too many nodes and attributes and not enough in interesting passives. So we lowered attribute requirements by 25% across the board.
Massive W.
That means you'll have more points to spend on interesting notables rather than just needing to allocate more strength, dex, and int.
Massive W.
Now, there are way more
Huge
changes than just
W.
these. These are just some of the cooler ones we wanted to show off. But I'd say that's just about enough for now. We're not even
Come
half
on,
done
dude.
yet. So I think it's time that we talk about the League, the rise of the Abyssal. And to do that, I'd like to hand things over to Mark.
Oh my.
As you just saw, even though there are major changes to the campaign for this update, we want to make sure that every time you come back for an expansion, each area feels different with something extra going on. It is really important to make sure your experience when returning between expansions
I mean, just
is
pumping
fresh
less skills
and filled with
or
new
less
content.
attributes
And the way we did
and
this
getting
was
more
through leagues.
passives.
Every expansion we make has a league, which not only has a fresh economy, but also has new content exclusively available in that league. So, let's delve into the details of what Path of Exile 2's
He said
first
delve.
official league is bringing to the table. The Abyssal are a race that have mastery of forbidden magics and necromancy. They were thought
Yeah,
to
we're
be
gonna have to
extinct,
really pour
but have
over the
merely
tree.
been biding their time underground.
Really pour over it.
You first encounter signs of the Abyssal in Clairfell, where you discover that during the night, weaker members of the Undead Legion have been attacking the encampment. The townsfolk require your help to investigate where the monsters are coming from and put a stop to their attacks.
Out there, ancient creatures, lurking beneath the surface.
As you proceed through Rayclast, you'll find fissures in the earth connected to larger pits. The monsters normally inhabiting the area are being affected by it, harmed by it even, having their souls eaten to strengthen the Abyssal underground. As you defeat the monsters, the fissure closes and Abyssal emerge, angered by you killing their food.
Okay.
Once all those fissures have been sealed, the pit activates, and more Abyssal pour out. This is where the larger and more dangerous monsters reveal themselves, as hordes of Abyssal spew out from the pit to take your soul. If you kill a magic pack, then magic Abyssal arise. If you kill a rare, then a rare monster will emerge from the pit, having
God, that
absorbed
looks so
some
cool.
or all of its modifiers for itself.
Okay.
This means the monsters emerging will generally be more difficult and more rewarding, as each modifier gives better rewards. If you are able to kill them all, the pit will seal shut. As each pit is closed, it reveals a potential reward. Abyssal troves will rise up out of the pits, allowing you to get some epic loot.
Okay.
Areas often contain many pits, with many fissures, and the amount goes up as you
I mean, that
progress
looks
through the game.
so. The
getting
pits
more
look so
intense.
cool.
It doesn't stop there. When monster mods are absorbed, they have a chance to become infused with the dark necromancy, transforming them into abyssal modifiers. For example, you defeat this monster with the Mana Siphoner modifier. Their soul is eaten by the pit, and a rare monster emerges. The Mana Siphoner modifier has transformed into Soul Siphoner, and is now amplified in danger and reward.
Jesus.
Abyssal pits also interact with other monsters and mechanics. If you defeat a rogue exile that's near one, it'll be revived as a Lichborn that has multiple Abyssal modifiers.
Oh shit.
Lichborn exiles even have their own unique jewel they can drop, if you are lucky enough to encounter and kill them.
Okay. All right.
If an Abyss spawns near a boss, killing it will summon a gigantic Giga Larvae creature.
That's awesome.
Monsters imprisoned in essences near Abyssal pits are affected by the Abyss too. They will come with an additional new essence item that can be used to craft your items.
Ooh.
So,
Just see
that's
the
your bread and
end game.
butter of the Abyssal League. Kill surface-dwelling monsters, kill the emerging Abyssal, close the fissures, overcome pit encounters, and reap the rewards.
Yeah, this looks fun.
There's a lot more to this league, however. As you complete abysses, you can find ancient pieces of bone, preserved from the remains of fallen Lichborn. These are one of the many rewards for your mission to seal the pits.
Yep.
You can use this on a rare item to imbue it with abyssal magic, adding a special hidden modifier to your item. But how do you reveal it? In Act 2 of the campaign, you'll encounter a new area. This area is overrun by the Abyssal and the Lost Men. After clearing through this area, you'll find the Well of Souls, a giant cavity with a massive vortex of souls swirling beneath you.
That's cool.
So how do you reveal the mods on your Abyssal-infused items? Obviously, just throw them in, right? Yes, that's exactly what you do. Before throwing it in, you are given the option of how you want to transform it, in the form of a choice of 3 different modifiers.
Ooh.
Once you've chosen your desired mod, throw it in, where it will absorb the power of the souls, and the ominous creature will then retrieve it for you. These modifiers can be ones from the core mod pool, all the way through to specialized modifiers that cannot normally appear on items. During the campaign, you can use it as a way to more easily add useful existing mods, but during the endgame, there is a whole set of new and powerful mods you can add to your items.
Okay.
Like this mod for crossbows, that allows you to place an additional ballista totem.
Yes,
or
please.
this one that adds spirit to your staff.
Oh.
Or this one that allows you to generate more combo with your quarterstaff skills.
Dude, extra totem on the weapon?
And speaking of endgame, you can also use the system to craft waystones.
Holy shit.
With a preserved vertebrae fused into your waystones, you can get some new modifiers that push difficulty and rewards to new heights. Here are some examples of those mods. You always get a choice of 3, so you can avoid anything you don't think your character is capable of.
Huh. Okay.
With this modifier, the natural inhabitants of the area are all spawned near abysses. And there are up to 9 additional abyssal pits in the area, making it just a full-on abyss ruckus.
This looks crazy.
Or this one, which causes the final abyssal pit in the area to always result in a boss encounter.
Yes.
Be it either one underground or one that emerges out. There are dozens of these waystone modifiers in total you can get from this crafting. That covers the new crafting mechanic. So what's left? Well, we talked about how when closing pits you can get abyssal troves, but sometimes when closing an abyss, you'll reveal an underground cavern that leads to the abyssal depths. After
Pinnacle
jumping
boss?
into the depths, you'll find an abyssal city, swarming with legions of the undead.
Sign me up.
When underground, every single rare abyssal enemy will have an abyssal modifier. And at the end of the dungeon, you'll even find a rare with a more powerful Lichborn modifier. Once you're able to defeat this powerful rare, you can also find some nice rewards. Aside from the entire area being valuable due to the
orb
abyssal
of
modifiers on the
augmentation.
monsters, it has its own specific drops too. One example is a set of lineage supports that can rarely be found in these depths, like Kurgel's Leash. This support empowers both you and your minions when you command them, granting unholy might to you both. Another depth-specific outcome is a set of omen-like items that amplify your abyssal crafting.
Okay.
Additionally, we're adding some new socketables that can drop from the abyssal depths. Take Ullaman's Gaze, which can be socketed into your armor. These are a bit special in that you can only have one equipped at a time, but give some pretty powerful effects. Think of them as almost a unique socketable for your equipment.
Okay.
In the endgame, where you can still find depths, you also start to find a different type of underground chamber. In these areas, you'll find an ancient spire, a device being used by commanders of the abyssal factions to plunge Rayclast into a lightless void. Your goal is simple: kill this commander and destroy the spire. There are 4 bosses in the Abyss League, and there are some pretty cool uniques available from them. An example is this belt, Darkness Enthroned. It has 2 sockets. But hold on, socketables don't work on belts. Well, this belt has a special mod that allows it to count as a different slot for the purpose of socketables.
What?
This one, for example, counts as a helmet. I kind of want one that counts as a body armor.
What?
I wonder how rare that one is. You can also find this unique jewel, Undying Hate. This jewel transforms part of your passive skill tree into an abyssal version, and has multiple depths. The deeper it goes, the more of your passive tree is affected, allowing you to fulfill your fantasy of becoming part Abyssal Lich.
Huh.
Now, the last thing that Abyssal commanders can drop is a Finger of the Lich. But what use do you have with a random undead
boss.
finger? Well, the next time you return to the Well of Souls, with the finger in your inventory, your character will almost feel compelled. To do what, though, you might ask? To jump in. The items you threw in came back more powerful, right? So, what's the worst that could happen? Well, you will just have to find that one out for yourself. Along with the introduction of Act
shit.
4 and the interlude,
I'm
we
jumping,
will
boys.
be adding 25 new in-game maps.
That's a lot.
These maps will contain all the new monsters and bosses we're adding, improving variety and giving you opportunities to experience the new boss fights many times. Let's take a look at some examples. Rock Pools is a map where you explore a shallow rocky coastline, surrounded by coral and filled with sirens. At the end is a giant Goblin King boss, ready to eat sulfite and squish you like a bug. Holton is an
Yeah, this is gonna
Ezomite
be
township
awesome.
which has seen better
Agreed.
days. Explore
This
and
is
clear
so
the
good.
township to find a gothic, Reaper-like boss, with the ability to manipulate storms and fry you with both lightning and wither you with chaos. Given some of the new bosses added are a bit more epic, such as the Act boss and final bosses of each interlude part, it would be a bit of a waste to just use them as regular map bosses. Instead, we'll be adding some new mechanics to the Atlas that use them.
Okay.
These start appearing pretty fast into the endgame and will help bridge the gap until you do your Pinnacle bosses.
All right.
In the desert biome, you can encounter a wild sandstorm. 3 maps around the sandstorm contain a device you must activate. Upon doing this, the sandstorm's magic is disrupted, revealing the map inside and allowing you to access it and find the cause. This presents itself in the form of a boss, similar to the existing Citadel bosses. This boss is a Faradin Swordmaster, who has been blessed with the power of a time gem, allowing him to take his swordsmanship to the next level by replicating himself, maneuvering rapidly, and severing the fabric of time itself with his powerful slashes.
These boss fights look so good. Look at that.
In the water biome, you'll encounter
Not
a
even mad
giant
about Templar
maelstrom,
now.
where one of the maps surrounding the water biome connects to it, but the connection is obscured. You must run the maps nearby, hoping to find a beacon, which will remove the maelstrom and reveal the connection to that map. Another example is this Vaal vault in the mountain biome. But how do we get inside? Running the adjacent maps to it will yield a key, which you can then use to gain access to this vault.
Okay.
Or, you could just trade for one, I guess. Use the key to dispel the powerful force field surrounding it, leading to the Vaal Elite and their rewards inside. These all contain Uber versions of the Act 4 boss, and the bosses at the end of each part of the interlude. And each have their own exclusive drop pool of new lineage supports, which, as Jonathan spoke about earlier, are powerful support gems that modify your skills in pretty crazy ways. As an example of a lineage support which can come from the Faradin Swordmaster mentioned earlier, we have Guru Khan's Resolve, which causes your critical strikes to fork, but requires some mobility on your part to properly enable. From the boss sealed in the Vaal Vault, we have Paquate's Pact, which supports your war cries, causing them to inflict massive amounts of corrupted blood at the cost of your own life. Additionally, some maps can now spawn summoning circles, a room resembling an Ezomite henge.
Okay.
Activating this henge will spawn bosses. It's as simple as that.
Huh.
We'll also be making changes to how affixes and waystones work. as the current prefixes equals good, suffixes equals bad iteration isn't quite hitting the mark. We tried something new here in Path of Exile 2, but after seeing the feedback, we decided we actually liked what we had in Path of Exile 1 more. Like Path of Exile 1, each affix will now be both difficult and rewarding. Waystone mods now grant an increase to the number of waystones dropped, and an additional specific upside attached.
Yes!
This means as you roll your map, they will continue to get more difficult and more rewarding, and allow you to customize the difficulty and rewards of your maps better.
Oh my
For
god,
example,
W.
The Frostbitten mod, which causes enemies to deal cold damage, also increases the rarity of items dropped as its upside. Whereas the Of Venom suffix modifier, which causes enemies to poison on hit, has the upside of granting increased pack size. Some maps will end up having a lot of rarity, some a lot of pack size, and others will just have a mixture of everything.
I like
Due
that.
to now having more modifiers granting difficulty, we will of course be reducing the difficulty per modifier to account for this.
Okay.
So, that's your Atlas, maps, and waystones, but what about Breach, Ritual, Pinnacle content, and others of the sort? We're making some changes around this too. The first change is that you'll now be able to invest 2 points into your specific League Atlas trees before having to run the Pinnacle content.
Oh.
There will be a
Okay.
specific objective for each type of content which grants you those points. For example, in the case of Delirium, it's simple. You just need to find and kill one of the bosses in a map, Omniophobia or Kosis.
Okay.
The rest of the points for each content come from the Pinnacle content, but we're making some changes to accessibility here too. Currently, access to most Pinnacle content requires the same key at the easiest and most difficult version of the content. This creates a negative feeling where at lower difficulties, instead of wanting to run the content, you're often better off just selling it to someone who can run it at maximum difficulty. To address this, each content will now drop splinters, which will not form into singular items. Instead of using the singular combined item in the Realm Gate, you can now just bring your splinters. Upon inserting the splinters into the Realm Gate, an interface will appear, allowing you to pick your difficulty, and you'll notice each difficulty has a different entry cost. This means if you want to run easier difficulties, it costs less, which also allows you to run this content
9 days,
much sooner
next
into
Friday.
the endgame. Because these encounters now just require splinters, their corresponding Atlas tree no longer affects the difficulty of
I
them,
like this change.
and has been changed to purely affect the content and maps on the Atlas.
Yeah, map crafting is going to be
The
figure out
Arbiter
which
of
ones
Ash
give the
works
most
a bit differently.
item and quantity.
Instead of requiring splinters, he still needs crisis fragments.
Chronographers.
We now have only 2 difficulties of the Arbiter.
Oh,
The
really?
first, requiring the existing fragments obtained from citadels. The second, Uber Arbiter, requires calamity fragments. These come from citadel bosses also, but only once you've allocated the maximum number of points in your boss Atlas tree,
Okay.
ensuring those citadels are at their highest difficulty level. Since we're talking about Pinnacle content, we also felt that the leveling curve in the late game was a bit too steep. We've smoothed this out a bit so that it's easier to get to the mid-90s. We've also added some new in-game unique items. Let's take a look at a couple.
Yeah.
Thunderfist is a pair of gloves that grants Crackling Palm, a skill which empowers your unarmed attacks, granting
God,
the
that's so
ability to
cool.
call down the storms themselves on enemies you hit. Put simply, literally every monster you hit with your unarmed skills will be struck by powerful lightning.
That looks insane.
Pair this with the aforementioned Hollow Palm technique to embrace your true unarmed prowess in combat.
You
Another
unarmed
unique
monk?
we're adding is Henekura's Sight.
Oh shit.
Equip this amulet to be granted the power of the Mother of Death herself. This is reflected by granting you a skill called Foresight. While you have Foresight, your dodge roll no longer avoids hits. But instead, being hit while dodge rolling restores you to full life and makes you unable to die for a brief period of time.
Huh.
You'll notice when this does occur, a copy of your character appears and takes the full damage. This is you seeing that future, as if you hadn't been wearing the amulet. Ultimately, your endgame experience should be more streamlined, With new content to
Gonna
find,
be the boss
you'll be
naked
able
with
to
my
invest
fists.
in your Atlas trees sooner, engage with Pinnacle content faster, have less FOMO running said Pinnacle content,
May I have to try
reach
punch
higher
monks?
levels easier,
Same.
and do all of
That
that
looks fun.
while finding many new chase endgame items.
How many
Talking
though?
about finding items is one thing,
Here we go.
but what about crafting them? We've taken a step back and looked at some of our crafting systems to make some notable improvements.
Okay.
Let's start with essences, which suffered from an issue where the regular essences were effectively useless and didn't give players the tools or excitement that a crafting system should provide. To alleviate these concerns, essences are being changed in a few ways. Firstly, they're being changed to function like regals and add specific modifiers with specific values, meaning you know exactly what you're going to get.
Okay. I like
We
that.
found that players were often bottlenecked by regal orbs when crafting in the campaign, so this helps to fill that gap, allowing you to better upgrade your items.
Okay.
For example, this Lesser Essence of Flames, which will be able to add a flat amount of fire damage to your magic martial weapons. Secondly, we're adding many more tiers. That Lesser Essence of Flames, for example, has a regular variant and a greater variant too, adding even more fire damage with each upgrade. The intention of this is so that when you find one early on, you don't worry about holding onto it till later to use on a higher level item. You should feel free to use them as they come to get powerful upgrades during the campaign.
Okay. Huge change. Huge.
Lastly, our highest tier of essences, now called
God, 50
Perfect
subs.
Essences, will function like a Chaos Orb instead of a Regal. So it will replace one of the modifiers on your rare items with the specified mod,
Ooh.
such as this Perfect Essence of Flames. You'll notice this one doesn't just
Ooh.
add flat fire damage like the ones before it. The Perfect Essences often give
Removes a
something a bit
random
different,
modifier.
with some opportunities to be pretty damn powerful.
Huh. Okay.
There are many different essences, each with many tiers,
Still,
covering
it's got
many
the
of the
deepest
more
tower
core
on.
modifiers you'd want on items early on, through to chase specialized ones for endgame. Speaking of endgame, we really wanted to expand our crafting options for late endgame crafting projects. You might have noticed that at endgame, you get way too many transmutes. Wouldn't it be nice if some of those didn't drop, but instead you got something a little more powerful? At higher levels, you can now find Greater Orb of Transmutation and Perfect Orb of Transmutation. These can be used on normal items to upgrade them to magic, ensuring that the modifier generated is of a minimum level.
Ooh.
This is similar to how you find higher tier items on the ground, but for crafting.
Ooh.
These higher tiers will also exist for Orb of Augmentation, Regal Orb, Exalted Orb, and Chaos Orb, meaning you can get all of the orbs required to take your item from normal rarity to a
this
fully
is
completed
good.
rare with guaranteed
No more
high tier
just
mods.
random rolls. We can pretty much get
On
high
top
tier.
of these new core crafting
guaranteed.
currencies, we wanted to make sure there are powerful crafting bases to use them on. Now in endgame, you can start to find exceptional items. These are items that drop at normal rarity and are perfect for your from-scratch crafting projects.
Ooh.
They can come with extra quality, up to 30%, or an additional socket to use your crafting socketables in. And yes, they can be corrupted for yet another socket.
Oh.
You can also get exceptional unique items.
Ooh, Katoko's current.
To add even further to your crafting arsenal, we've added a whole suite of new omens to ritual content.
Dude,
and
exceptional
removed some of the
uniques?
more
That's
unimpactful ones
crazy.
that weren't being used.
The market's
Some
going
of
to be
the new
so
omens
expensive.
include the Omen of the Ancients, which will cause your next Orb of Chance to not destroy the item, but generate a random unique of the same class. Or
Oh.
the Omen of Sanctification, which is my new favorite. This will cause your next Divine Orb used on a rare item to reroll the values of its modifiers, allowing it to exceed the normal minimum and maximum values, raising the ceiling on the new most powerful rare items in the game.
Oh.
This omen will also cause your item to become sanctified. Sanctified items cannot be crafted, just like corrupted ones, so consider carefully when you use this.
Oh my.
Another is the Omen of Chaotic Monsters, which will cause your next Chaos Orb to reroll all modifiers on a Waystone, allowing you to fix your maps if you get some modifiers that are not feasible for your build. Besides these examples, there is a huge variety of new omens for you to discover in your ritual encounters. With the release of Act 4, notably taking place in the Karori Archipelago, you'll be able to now find a new currency item, Henikora's Lock. Henikora, the Karori goddess of death, has the power of foresight.
Huge.
And is able to see many futures, including the outcome of your next craft. So, imbuing her lock onto an item gives you that same power too. For example, you'll know whether or not to use an Exalted Orb on your item, as you will know exactly what the outcome is. So, with all these new crafting improvements, it's safe to say you're going to be making some epic items, and not necessarily just ones for yourself. So given that, it's time to talk about a massive one.
That's massive.
Trade.
Holy shit.
It's finally here. The moment we've all been waiting for. Fully asynchronous trade. Over the years, the way players trade with each other in Path of Exile 1 has morphed from using the forums, through to the in-game chat, all the way through to using the website.
I'm gonna be
These
busy.
systems, in all their iterations, work for a while, but with each iteration, new problems eventually reveal themselves.
Yeah.
Be it requiring you to be in your hideout too much instead of out there killing monsters, or never getting responses from people who
I'm
are
gonna
either
cry. It's
AFK
beautiful,
or
dude. It's
just
so
can't be
good.
bothered.
This is so good.
In order to finally solve this, and this has been a long time coming, we're adding a new system that allows you to buy items from other players without requiring the seller to be present. They can continue
thank you.
farming, killing monsters, AFK as they please,
I'll actually
and can
sell stuff
even
now.
be offline. With the introduction of King's March in Act 4, you will encounter Ange, assistant to Rog in the Meridian Free Traders Company. Over the last 2 decades or so, since Path of Exile 1's storyline, Faustus has handed down his knowledge and expertise to Ange, and she is now ready to take over his business. If you have a hideout unlocked already, you can immediately invite her there. If you don't have a hideout yet, you will need to acquire one. You can do this by completing a quest to defeat one of the bosses inhabiting an island in Act 4, allowing you then to take a slice of it for yourself, making it your new home and base of operations. Once invited to your hideout, she will now serve as operating your currency exchange, but also serve as the figurehead in your new trading empire. So, how does this new system work?
Big
In the
sales.
existing trade system, you would list items for sale in premium stash tabs. And then when someone wanted one, you'd have to take it out for yourself and trade it to them. Now, instead of using those, you can give your items to Ange so she can sell them for you. Each item must have a price set. The prices are set using in-game currency items, such as Exalted Orbs
Absolutely
or Chaos
massive.
Orbs. Once a price is set, other players will be able to find the item by searching for it on the trade website.
You can secure it from the
Once a
website.
desired item has been found, you can hit a button, which will instantly teleport your character in-game to their hideout. Then, you can immediately purchase the item.
Oh
And while
my
there,
god.
if you want, browse their other goods, in case there's a good deal someone else hasn't yet discovered. You'll notice that as a buyer,
Massive.
on top of the currency the seller set for the price, it also costs gold to purchase an item, as Ange has bills to pay after all.
That's fine. Gold's
As a
easy to come by.
seller, you'll immediately receive a notification when an item of yours is sold, and can also see an effect above Ange in your hideout when she has unclaimed currency.
No more price
Just go
fixers.
talk to her,
Exactly.
claim your currency, and continue
No
playing
more
at your leisure.
scammers. That's crazy. This is so good.
As many
This is-
people already acquired premium stash tabs for the purpose of the trade system, we wanted to add a way for you to convert your existing tabs to merchants tabs,
Okay.
if you want. You can do that here, on the website, but only if you purchase those tabs before the
Sit down
release
the
of the
luster.
third edict. To clarify, the existing trade system will remain fully intact,
Okay.
so your premium stash tabs will not lose any of their functionality. We just figured people might want to switch over to this new system. We expect a lot of feedback around this new system and are looking forward to trying it out with you. As we are not able to test internally with an entire, thriving economy, there will certainly be some kinks to work out.
Yeah,
Based
of
on how
course.
the system goes, we will be adding it to Path of Exile 1 when ready, so
Oh, wow.
any of the tabs you purchase will also be usable there later. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new supporter packs. Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Justice and Trathan Executioner packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression
Dude, they're playing
in
craps.
any way. The Justice series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Claim glory after defeating enemies, or inspire your allies by calling down the Banner of Justice portal. The Sphinx Mystic hideout decoration will identify items for you, displaying them as it does so.
I like that thing. That's
this
cool.
ancient
I
creature
might
has
have to
been
get that.
presented with many items over the eons, so has some strong expressions to make on the quality of your wares. Become a true warrior, worthy of delivering the justice of the eternal gods,
Okay.
with the Apostle of Justice armor set. This armor set also comes with a matching back attachment containing a set of scales to measure your worth. With the Apostle of Justice finisher effect equipped, the Goddess of Justice herself will appear to decide on a verdict for slain unique enemies. Witness as she decides the fate of your slain foes. Will they ascend to be amongst the gods or be banished to the underworld?
Hell yeah.
The Griffin fledgling pet will be your courageous companion as you journey throughout Rayclast. Take your place in the skies in the Plateau of the Gods hideout. This hideout comes with many different sections for setting up your home or base of operations. In order to travel between them,
That looks cool.
you simply just need to walk off the edge. Like a true
What?
eternal god, you can float between the mountains on the clouds themselves.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
The Trathan Executioner pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Trathan Executioner finisher
slave
effect
pit.
is a brutal display of Trathan might, crushing slain
Calling
unique
it a new
enemies
game.
as if they were bugs
There's a lot of
beneath
good
your
content.
head.
Jesus.
As a Trathan Executioner, you're the perfect master for the ever-hungry carrion raptor pet. It has taken a particular liking to the taste of other pets, and at your command it will swoop down and eviscerate them, proceeding to satisfy its hunger by feeding on their corpse. The nobles of the 4 major Trathan houses had their mercenaries, but if their hired hands became notably irritating, they'd have to call in the Trathan Executioners. You can now embrace their methods and become brutality incarnate with the Cruel Trathan Executioner armor set.
I kind of like how that looks.
The matching Cruel Trathan
Whoa.
Executioner cloak will shroud you in scarlet as you crush the skulls of your enemies
That's cool.
and leave a trail of blood behind you as you build up a kill streak. Or use the alternate variant to simply put a skeleton on your back. Be bathed in blood as you mutilate monsters with the Cruel Trathan Executioner character effect. The swirling blood increases in volume as your spree of slaughter continues. Both this effect and the cloak use the same kill streak for tracking how much blood is shown.
Okay.
After a long and tiring day of executions, enjoy a relaxing
Goblin
game of dice
Gamblers.
with the Goblin Gamblers hideout decoration. They'll definitely be playing fair, right? The Pulverizer map device brings a horrid efficiency to punishing the damned of Trathus. Each map you open will execute
They
the
just
next
tapped on the
victims.
mic. Mic check.
This map device in its true ruthlessness tracks the total number of monsters killed, your kills per second, and your largest kill streak up to the point of the map being completed.
Huh.
This is then displayed on a leaderboard so you can take a measure of you and your friends' violence at the end of each map.
Okay.
Additionally, any microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. That's enough about cosmetics. Let's get into the Q&A. But firstly, I want to give a huge thank you for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, at 11 AM NZ time, or 4 PM Pacific, we'll post Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict's patch notes. With the release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you need for the
Wait, when
release.
did they say the patch notes are coming?
Keep an eye on the news. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to seeing your experiences with
So
Act
no
4
new
and its new
classes.
bosses, fighting the
None.
Abyssal, trying new builds, and crafting new items. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
I mean, look, I'm not mad about not getting a new class because a lot of those reworks look insane. The crafting, all the new lineage, rework to all the skills. I mean, all the passive, new passives on the tree, 150 plus. That's absolutely massive.
Hello, and welcome back, Exiles. After a absolutely monumental
Oh, bad audio.
reveal, we now have a suitably juicy Q&A session.